Hello everyone, and welcome to a new video, because Lord knows I have not made a video in quite a while. So today I am doing, instead of a class based on something, I am doing a original class, being the dancer. Has the concept been done before by other people doing homebrew? Yes. Do I care? No! I want to make an original class for y'all because it's been a while. And I didn't know what to do with the background footage for this video, that's why it took so long. Anyways, so let us discuss is the dancer. First off, dancers. I have decided to make them full casters, but I decided to make them similar to a Blade Singer wizard because they're just more dexterous bards, really, right? And I'll be real, it's not like I'm gonna be original doing any of this, so I decided to do something a bit more original. Anyways, the primary abilities are dexterity and charisma, and your hit dice is a D8. Now, with the PDF, because I actually did make a PDF this time, it's going to be a little all over the place in terms of formatting, because I tried to combine both the 2014 and the 2024 version of 5th edition into one class. That's why in the sheet, you'll see specifically for level 19, there is one that is for the 2024 release, and one for the 2014 release. So it's a bit of both, but not bad. But it's whatever. Anyways, your proficiencies are you are proficient in light armor, simple weapons, disguise kit. Your saving throws are dexterity and charisma, and you can choose any 3 skills. Because this is kind of what Bard has, and like I said earlier, Bards are just musical dancers, basically. They're less dexterous, but they are much more convincing. With your equipment, I'm not going to go over that. That's for you to go over. Anyways, at level 1, you gain spellcasting. I don't need to mention spellcasting. I will say that the dancer is a prepared spellcaster, so they have a maximum number of prepared spells, which is listed on the table. And at level 1, you have 2 cantrips and 2 level 1 spell slots. Aside from spellcasting, you also have the unique feature, Dancing Grace, which is, while you're at level 1, as long as you're wearing light armor or not wearing armor and not holding a shield, you can start a dance for the next minute. During this window of time, you gain the following effects. These effects are, you can use charisma for your modifier to attack and for damage, instead of using strength or dexterity. Your AC is 10 plus your dex plus your dexterity modifier plus your charisma modifier. And you can cast verbal spells with somatic components, only at the cost of a Dancer's Grace charge, which is your proficiency modifier, by the way. Never mind, I'm an idiot. And you can perform a acrobatics check as a bonus action to force a creature of your choice to abandon everything and come after you. I decided to make this a bit more of an evasion tank, which, if you don't know what that is, means you draw in aggro and you dodge attacks. You are not an HP sponge like the Paladin or the Barbarian. You are more like a rogue in this case. You can go into Dancer's Grace a number of times equal to your charisma plus dexterity modifier, and you regain all uses upon a long rest. I decided to be gracious I wanted to also include a feature where it was basically you can swap charisma checks for dexterity checks or dexterity checks for charisma. I decided that might have been a bit too broken for now. At level 2, you gain expertise and dexterous performance, which is the thing I just mentioned. You can use it a number of times equal to your dexterity modifier, as it is not vice versa, but it's mostly supposed to be for your dexterity. I wanted dexterity to be a bit more important because I realized I might not have made it as important as I wanted it to be. And for the main ability that you get at level 3 are the themed dances. You gain more themed dances as you go more into your class, and you can only have one themed dance active at one time. The first one you get at level 3 is Attention. All of your subclasses will get the Attention themed dance, which forces all creatures around you that you choose within line of sight to force a wisdom saving throw or use all their movement to reach you if possible for the next minute. And if the save is a success, the creature is immune to this dance for the next hour. They're not as captivated by your dance. You need to breathe more life into your routine, so to say. As well, you do get a themed dance for each of the subclasses. I will go into more details later in the video, but I decided to make 4 subclasses instead of just the normal 2 or 3 I'd make for a class. Because again, I wanted to make it up to you guys. That's been a very long while. The subclasses, however, are different styles of dance, I've decided. Because, the barbarian has their paths, the monk has their ways. So, I decided to do the style for dances, because that makes a lot of sense to me. Level 4, obviously, it's an ASI, no matter what. And at level 5, you gain what I called a reactive dance. Whenever a creature deals damage to you while you're in Dancer's Grace, you can use a reaction to attack the creature with the same amount of damage they did to you. It is more of a full counter. It isn't very useful, because again, this is more on the lines of an evasion tank, but if you do manage to take damage and you don't need to use your reaction for anything, I think that's pretty fair to do. At level 6, you gain a subclass ability, as well as at level 11 and 15. And so from now on, I'm going to just skip those levels. But at level 7, you gain the evasion skill just like a rogue does, which, if you guys don't know what that does, it is if you succeed a dexterity saving throw, you take no damage instead of half, and on a failure, you only take half instead of the full. But you can't use it unless you're incapacitated, obviously, because you can't evade. Again, this is more an evasion tank style class, and I want to reflect that with giving it the evasion skill. With the other thing you get at level 7 being a themed dance that every subclass can use, and you can only have one going at a time. And you get the themed dance of the Mage. And while you are doing this themed dance, you can use a cantrip that has a casting time of an action with a bonus action instead, only after you take the attack action, and this lasts for a minute. I thought this was a cool thing. I saw it as part of the Bladesinger wizard, which is kind of what this is based on, so I want to reflect that. Next up, at level 10, you gain in what I called Empowered Grace. The Dancer's Grace you got at the beginning of the class, it gets upgraded. If you are within 10 feet of a creature while this is active, It can't make opportunity attacks against you. You have 10 feet more of movement, and you can use performance as a reaction to a party member getting hit to distract the creature making the attack. This is so that they are focused on you for the next attack, which is good if you are protecting a squishy caster, or if you want to have the barbarian take more important hits. You also gain an extra charge of Dancer's Grace. You can also spend, an extra charge of Dancer's Grace to extend the duration by a minute, since this only lasts for a little bit. And at level 13, you gain in the last theme dance that every subclass can use, being the Charmed Dance. When you enter this Charmed themed dance, it forces all creatures you can see to make a Wisdom saving throw or be charmed for the next minute. And this dance only lasts until the end of your turn. This is because the effect does last for a minute, and I didn't want to write more or things for it. Otherwise, it would be the creature's not affected for like an hour. I'm just going to have it be lasting for a turn. This is because every time you activate a themed dance, new inspiration strikes. At level 14, while you're in Dancer's Grace, you can ignore difficult terrain. You can also walk on water without falling in if you still have movement, or until the end of your turn. So you can walk on water and you ignore difficult terrain. This is called Balancing Act. I figured a dancer needs to be, very balanced to do some of the things I've seen them do. At level 18, you gain the Complex Dance feat, where you can use 2 themed dances without canceling the effects of the previously used themed dance. As well as while you're in Dancer's Grace, you can do up to 3 themed dances at a time. You're level 18. You're supposed to be powerful. Now, because of the formatting I did here, you're at level 19. You either get you gain a ability score improvement if you're playing the 2014 version of 5th edition, or an epic boon if you're doing 2024. I did actually write down 2024 with the actual feature. I don't know why I just wrote 2020 on the sheet. I already made the PDF. I am sorry. As well, at level 20, the pinnacle is you are considered to be in Dancer's Grace permanently. And if you attempt to enter Dancer's Grace is at level 20, you double the effects. Everything is doubled. I thought that is kind of cool. Does it help the class? Yes. Is it stupid good? Probably. Not really. You don't actually gain a lot from doubling effects, because the only real thing that is doubled is your movement speed, as well as making charisma checks, I guess. But yeah, that is the main class, though. Because of how dancing works, I thought it would be pretty cool to just do like a general dancing and then have different styles. I've actually had an idea for a 5th style for a subclass, but I didn't go with it. I wanted to do something much more fun. You'll see why I said that later. Next up are the subclasses I made. I made 4 this time around, which means I get to cover 4 styles of dance. I did do the styles because there are multiple different styles of dance in the real world, being break dancing, being belly dancing, sword dancing. Yes, that's a real thing. Being formal dancing. There's so many different kinds, so I thought I would emulate it by naming all the subclasses is styles of dance. For the first one we're going to talk about, it is the style of war. It is the martial class of this group of subclasses I've made. With the first feature, you gain in proficiency in martial weapons that don't have the two-handed or heavy property, as well as while you're in Dancer's Grace, you can use a reaction to parry a melee attack that would hit you as long as it doesn't go 5 over your armor class. Parrying the attack lets you take half damage from said attack, and this will use a Dancer's Grace charge. It sounds a little complex. This kind of comes from Pathfinder as well. As in Pathfinder, you get a crit if you're 10 over the armor class, so I decided to emulate somewhat. And as well, on level 3, you gain in one of the 2 specialized theme dances for each subclass. For the war style, it is the dance of the warrior. While you're performing it, you have advantage on your next attack with a weapon while in Dancer's Grace. At level 6, you gain extra attack, like a lot of other martial subclasses. At level 11, and when you enter Dancer's Grace, every creature you can see other than your own allies must make a wisdom saving throw or spend the first attack action they can on you. On a successful saving throw, the creature is immune to this effect for an hour. This is a bit more of a tank, traditional tank, rather than an evasion tank, unlike the last time. The second theme dance comes at level 11, where you gain the weaponry one, which has the your weapon act like the spell Spiritual Weapon for a minute. However, it only has 1 HP before the magic just says screw you. And last but not least, the best skill you can get for sticking with the style of war is countering dance. Whenever this happens, while you're in Dancer's Grace and get hit by a melee attack, you can take half damage instead of the full damage, and afterwards you can roll your weapon damage as if you've gotten a crit on your attacker. This does use a reaction, so you can't also half it more with the parrying from martial dancing. I thought this was kind of cool. It's level 15. You don't have a lot to do with reactions, but you don't need to do the Dancer's Grace anymore. The next subclass is more on Bard, because apparently Bard has a College of Dance in 2024, which I did not know about when I was making this goddamn class at the start. That voice in my head that was yelling at me earlier was sadly correct. Anyways, at level 3, you can use an extra charge of Dancer's Grace while you're doing a themed dance to have the effects affect all your allies within 30 feet. As well as you can gain a cantrip from the Bard spell list, because it's song and dance. This is the style of song. This is like musicals, for like musical dancing, for example. They do follow each other most of the time, but not all the time. As well, the themed dance is heal. Whenever you perform the themed dance, you heal yourself for 2d6 damage. If you maintain this dance, you can heal an extra 1d6 for every 6 seconds for a minute. This is pretty strong, but you do have to maintain the dance. You have to spend your action keeping up the dance to heal. As well, if you expend another point of Dancer's Grace, you can have it heal others. This is more of a support subclass. So, yeah. At level 6, you can sing during your Dancer's Grace. I say can, you just do, because it's just an aura 15 feet around you, and creatures within this song aura cannot be frightened. They are empowered by your song. At level 11, unlike the style of war, this has a feature at level 11. I believe all the rest of the subclasses do. The style of war kind of gives you a free spiritual weapon, so it balances out. At level 11, when in Dancer's Grace, your song aura expands by 5 feet, and also makes creatures in said aura not be able to be deafened. Your song protects them even more, and I thought it was kind of neat. The next theme dance, which you also get at level 11, is Armor. When performing this theme dance, you can use your magic to give a +2 armor class for the next minute. Again, since you can give this to others, it's pretty good. All the theme dances are centered on yourself because only the style of song can actually give it to other allies. At level 15, the final feature you get for style of song is when you reach this level, in Dancer's Grace, your aura also gives creatures a +5 to movement speed. It also gives them a +2 AC against projectiles. Your song starts to become physical. Your song is the wind. This is kind of what it is. The thing I want to reference with this is sound waves being able to, in a lot of media and stuff, being able to deflect projectiles, give them a boost of speed, acting like the wind. So, I want to do that. The next subclass is the Style of the Wild. I decided to do this one because I knew that there was animal dancing in real life. Snake dancing, for example, is the main one I know of. So, it is all around being kind of like an animal while you're dancing about. Because at level 3, you have Poisonous Strikes. Your unarmed attacks become poisonous and they deal an extra d6 of poison damage. The number of d6 will increase every time your proficiency modifier increases. And at level 11, you can spend a Dancer's Grace point to force a con save, or the target becomes poisoned. Poison is a very debilitating status condition in D&D, but because this is mostly with poison, and it somewhat is balanced, because poison is the most resisted status condition and damage type. The only thing that comes close is fire. The themed dance you get is Venom. The next attack you do forces a Constitution saving throw, or the target is poisoned for the next minute. I wanted to do it like this because, yes, at level 11, you can start poisoning things without this themed dance. However, the poison only lasts until the start of your next turn. So, I wanted to do that. At level 6, you gain the Spider Movement feat, which allows you to gain a climb speed of half your walking speed. And while in Dancer's Grace, your climb speed is also increased by 10 feet. And at level 11, you gain Scaled Dance, which allows you to grow some scales onto your legs and arms while you're dancing, letting you resist slashing while in Dancer's Grace. As well as with the theme dance is Frenzy. When performing this themed dance, you can use a second attack action as long as you use an attack action this turn. This attack is at advantage, but attacks against you have advantage. It's a mixture of extra attack and reckless attack. You are acting like a wild animal on a frenzy. So, yeah. While barbarians can not reckless attack on their second attack action, you have to with this dance, and this will last for a minute. And the final feature is For the Wild. When you reach level 15 and you're in Dancer's Grace, you gain advantage on your attack rolls if you are within 5 feet of an ally. As well as when you use the Frenzy themed dance, you also regen half rounded down on the amount of hit points you deal back. It is mostly vampiric in nature with this one, but there are animals that do this kind of thing where they will pack up with each other and consume something's blood. That is how they live. Bats, some form of bats do it. But I also want to include some pack tactics in it, because D&D's beasts, which are animals for the most part, a lot of them do have pack tactics. So I want to reference that as well. And last but not least, we have the Style of the Jester. This is probably my most out there one, and this is probably not balanced, but I don't care. This came to me while my friend was playing Deltarune, in chapter 1 with Jevil. So I thought, I like jesters, and a lot of jesters in media tend to dancing. So it makes sense thematically. And because of the chaotic nature of this is going to be fun. At level 3, as part of Dancer's Grace, you can use an action to do a trick to heal, buff, damage, or shield others. You can use a Dancer's Grace point to randomly do a trick. You roll a d4 and perform the trick listed in the table. The table is included with it. One is healing, one is doing damage, one's giving armor class, and another is adding more to their next roll. And the theme dance is chaos. When performing this theme dance, you create a 15-foot radius aura around you. That makes it so a successful check is a failure, and a failed success check is a success. It flips around things. I've had an idea for this for a sorcerer subclass for so long, and I'm honestly so glad that I get to do it with this. The effect does last for a minute, as with the other theme dances. This is really funny because it also affects you. If you know that you're going to fail, you can do the theme dance, and oh hey, you succeed due to you warping in probability into your favor, doing something funny, something chaotic. At level 6, you gain Jester's Control. You can gain the ability to change the probability into your favor somewhat. You can spend a Dancer's Grace charge and a reaction to increase an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw of a creature that you can see. If you do this, roll a d6. If the number is odd, you can decrease the total by the number rolled. If you roll even, this increases the number rolled. You can do this before the effects of the roll are known. This is kind of funny. I like this. Again, this subclass is more funny. It's not very it is somewhat practical, but this is more to do with you are sticking to a bit. This is the subclass that you are a jokester. At level 11, you gain Tricky Jester. When you roll for Jester's tricks, you can roll twice and pick the number you wish to use. This can be doubled, this can be 1 or 2, it can be whatever. You have more control over what you do, but not so much that it breaks the game. The theme dance at level 11 is Bomb. You can make your head grow big and explode. All creatures within a 10-foot radius must make a dex save or take 46 force damage, half as much on a successful save. Your head grows back instantly afterwards. This dance is an action. I couldn't think of a second theme dance, and I just remembered, I don't remember what show it was, but I remember a show where a character puts their finger into their mouth, blows, makes their head big, explodes, and their head just grows back. This is, again, more of a funny, haha. So that's why it's a theme dance. And last but not least, you have Jester's Chaos. When you reach level 15, you can gain more power from success. Once per long rest, you can regain a charge of Dancer's Grace when you roll maximum damage on a spell or attack. You can also gain power from failure. If you roll minimum damage on a spell or attack, you can use Jester's tricks instead after learning your damage. I thought this would be kind of funny because one of the Jester's tricks is damage, so you can just roll Jester's tricks instead. But I also thought more probability into your hand. This is screws with probability. I don't know. All in all, I kind of do like this class I made. Everything is below. I made a PDF for this one, even. And this also includes the spell list. The spell list is not the biggest. I thought I would just do spells that would make performing in a dance much better. And some damage, because this is an evasion tank at the end of the day. But all the damaging spells I chose would make for a great dance or something you can do in the middle of a dance. All in all, this is honestly one of the best classes I made, I believe. Not in terms of how broken it is, but in terms of just the creation of it. So I hope you all enjoyed the class. I very much hope you guys like it and use it. And I'll see you all whenever I see you again, because I'm gonna be real. Making videos is not the easiest thing for me. Bye bye, everyone.